Hey, I'm interviewing Riley Melton. Riley, do you want to introduce yourself and say kind of what your position is and how long you've been here?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello. My name is Riley Melton. I am a consultant at Fund Consulting. I've been with the company for just under 2 years, 2 years in June, and I work mainly on the strategic projects team and also work on the dashboards and dabble a little bit in certification process as well.
Okay. Okay, so and what we're doing today is we're doing a real quick 10-minute spotlight on Riley to kind of talk about his experience at Fund in honor of our 25th anniversary. So I've got a couple questions for Riley that we'll try to keep it under 10 minutes or less. Um, and so I guess my first question, Riley, would be um, what do you think is a shared characteristic of all the employees that work at Fund?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that to work at Fund and to work in the CDFI industry, you have to have some care or interest in supporting underserved communities, whether that be through increasing their access to grant capital, uh, you know, committing to supporting CDFIs and pursuing certification, which also increases access to grant capital, supporting nonprofits by increasing their capacity to lend within communities. So I think at Fund specifically, all of our team members through their work are directly committed to supporting communities throughout the country in increasing access to economic development opportunities and community development opportunities. And what I've found in the last year and change is that everybody that I am able to work with, interact with at Fund inherently does care about those things and cares about those communities being supported. And I have a deep sense of pride in knowing that we all can share that interest in helping those communities in the ways that we do through our daily work.
Okay. Great. That is a great answer. What do you think has surprised you the most about working at Fund and or the CDFI industry?
It's a good question. I think that to answer that question, there has to be some context on where the CDFI industry has been in the last 2 years. So, with potential threats to funding at the federal level, and support for CDFIs throughout the country, I think that a lot of CDFIs have felt threats and have felt fear of being able to continue the progress that has been going on, the monumental growth I think that the CDFI industry has experienced in the last 10 years. There have been these threats that might slow down or stop altogether. And I think that the reaction by the CDFI industry and then thereby Fund to these threats has, I think, not only surprised me, but really encouraged me as somebody who really feels passion for CDFIs. Um, what has been, I guess, so surprising has been just seeing how this industry has come together and identified new strategies for continuing to serve these communities amidst a lot of chaos and confusion on where some of that critical support function will be. So rather than sort of pivoting and focusing on areas that might be more financially lucrative, um, and might be supporting themselves rather than the communities that they aim to serve, there's almost been a doubling down of reaching out and hitting these communities that are really struggling with capital access. And for example, finding new ways to band together at the state level and advocate at state governments for the allocation of grant dollars for CDFIs, or partnerships between larger CDFIs and smaller CDFIs through bond programs. Those things have been really, I think, positive
Mhm.
indications that the industry is going to succeed and continue to thrive. And I've been I've been certainly positively surprised by that, and seeing that
Okay.
in the last year.
Okay. Yeah, I think it has been reassuring to see the community and us at Fund here come together in these trying times. So thank you for that. What new ideas, practices, technologies, or collaboration do you find most inspiring for the future of CDFIs?
Yeah, plenty of plenty of opportunities to dive into those. I think that, I've had the opportunity through funds to attend two OFN conferences, the last two OFN conferences. And at this last OFN conference in DC, that was happening amidst really, really deep in the middle of this crisis of funding access. And I think that what what surprised me was, as I mentioned, the just the sheer volume of new strategies and tactics that are being introduced. Um, to name a few, I think I mentioned bond guarantee programs
Hmm.
that have been introduced by larger CDFIs that are looking to partner with smaller CDFIs to just get capital access to these organizations. Um, it really helps the large CDFIs in getting their dollars out, and it helps small CDFIs in making sure they have grant cap or sorry, money to spend in lending
Right.
capital.
Okay.
Um, Partnerships at the you know state level where CDFIs are working together to ensure capital access. But I think something that fund is doing that really impresses me that I've seen across the industry as well is an increased reliance on data, specifically geographic data, to identify lending opportunities for emerging CDFIs and small CDFIs. Uh, we have spent a lot of time in the last year building out our dashboard processes, which have enabled us to provide quarterly insights to our clients and our CDFI partners that really, I think, help them, for one, track their progress towards meeting certification requirements, but also to determine how they might be able to evolve their lending functions in a way that not only improves their profitability, but also improves the community development in the areas they serve. And that increased reliance on fresh data, I think, is something that the CDFI industry wants and is seeing among its certified CDFIs, but also is what all other grant opportunities and providers of grant opportunities wants to see as well. Whether that be at the local level, at the state level, these grants are highly competitive. And if I'm a reviewer and I'm looking at two grant opportunity or grant applications, and one is, not reliant on data and just relies on explaining things in the way that they might be able to explain amidst their company, but not to somebody who's
Hmm.
unfamiliar with them.
Right.
If I'm looking at that one, comparing it against one that has several data points that are outlined very cleanly and succinctly and shows need based on numbers, not just based on what the CDFI knows to be true in their community.
Hmm.
Um, I'm always going to go with that second option because
Right.
that's something that can be communicated to the investors and to the uh, political leadership that might be in charge of those dollars. And
Okay.
so I'm very much impressed to see not only that taking shape across the industry, but importantly at Fund, this deeper focus on data, delivering that to the clients and making sure that
Right.
they can make their decisions based off of that.
Okay. Wow, that was a great answer. So, in the few minutes we have left, I think I'll just ask you one more question. Um, what, where do you see the company in another 25 years?
I think that fund has an opportunity to grow substantially in the next 25 years and build upon the foundation that it has uh, grown very steadily and very strongly over its first 25 years. I think that, we have excellent leadership in Ruth Barber and Lulia Cerelias who have really served as this foundation of knowledge in, the CDFI industry with regards to certification, strategic planning, grant management, whatever it may be. I think that to, have a new and emerging group of staff that are building upon that experience, but also finding new creative solutions to supporting CDFIs as the industry continues to grow. Um, the blend of those two components, I think, will allow fund in the next 25 years to not only grow at pace with the CDFI industry, but
Mhm.
build the CDFI industry up itself by supporting these CDFIs that will continue to grow on their own and become larger members of the industry. So we have an opportunity to directly have a stake in the size and
Right.
scale of the industry by supporting emerging CDFIs and well-grown CDFIs and making sure that they can continue to build up and support their communities. And then specifically, I think in the next 25 years, I'm really hopeful and positively expecting, I think, for there to be, again, a greater focus on data analysis, a greater focus on delivering that to clients in a way that is supportive of their decisions, but also understands how to communicate that information in a way that is helpful and conducive to success.
Okay. Well, Riley, I want to thank you for taking 10 minutes out of your day to do a quick interview with me in honor of Fund Consulting's 25th anniversary. I appreciate your time and your thoughtful answers, and we will see everyone at the next interview.
Thank you. It's
All
been a
right.
pleasure.
You take care. Bye.